Chapter 71 The Big Pit Between Tobirama. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the following time, Minato, Kakashi and Lin destroyed the Canopy Bridge together, providing Konoha with a chance of victory. Unfortunately, not long after the Battle of Canopy Bridge, Lin was killed by Uchiha Madara. Minato's subordinates are the only one left, Kakashi. Tobirama, as expected, that guy Madara used Noera Rin to let Obito witness her death. While Obito successfully awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, he also led him into the abyss. Looking at the light screen, Noera Rin was stabbed to death by Kakashi in the chest. Obito successfully awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan, and Tobirama's understanding of the Uchiha clan has deepened a lot. At that time, he only knew that there was a problem with Uchiha's blood inheritance. After establishing Konoha, through his research, he learned that the Sharingan requires a lot of negative emotions to be stimulated in order to advance. Uchiha tribesmen who advance under this kind of stimulation often have drastic changes in temperament. However, it may just be that they have advanced to 3 Magatama. Such people will often recover through time and the guidance of others. As long as it doesn't irritate him, he will be like a normal person. Kagami awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan some time ago, and Tobirama was deeply impressed by his evil and arrogant appearance. But after his guidance and the guidance of his friends, Jinya returned to his original appearance. It's just that his acting style has become a little more ruthless. Before coming to the office, he received information from the Umbu, saying that the Uchiha clan was going to hold a clan meeting today, and hoped that Kagami could attend, and even threatened him. You can imagine how important this meeting is today. Unexpectedly, Jing, who was always calm and rational, broke the man's legs without saying a word and told them that he was not interested in the meeting of the radicals. Even the mirror has become like this. Without teachers and companions to accompany and persuade Obito, it is understandable that he turns into a madman who wants to destroy the world. Of course, understanding is understanding, and Tobirama may not agree with what the other party does. They have already let the Kyuubi go against Konoha. It would be strange if he could admit it. Obito is also miserable. He saw the girl he liked die in front of his eyes, and the person who took action was a close friend of the same team. Sarutobi Hiruzen also sighed. With such an operation, let alone Uchiha, even he would probably fall into darkness and become a madman who only knows destruction. If Obito had a brain, I don't believe he wouldn't notice. Sarutobi Hiruzen thought for a moment and felt that teacher Tobirama was right. Yes, after all, the arrangement of this matter is too coincidental and obvious. Anyone with a normal IQ can detect that something is wrong. Is Obito a person with a normal IQ? In the formula book, Sien represents IQ, and Obito's value is 2. For comparison, Shikamaru as a child was 10, and Naruto as a child was 3, not even as good as Naruto. Obito's IQ is indeed worrying, but even so, Obito came to understand many years after the incident, and knew that the accident was deliberately designed by Madara in order to awaken him to the kaleidoscope and help Madara implement the Eye of the Moon plan. But by that time, Obito only wanted to create a world with Lin. And he no longer cared about conspiracies. Even though he knew that the Rinnegan could resurrect Rin, he did not let Nagato resurrect Rin, because he felt that this disgusting world did not deserve Lin. Only a new world full of peace and hope can Lin be truly reborn. In order to achieve this goal, he deceived Nagato, deceived Konan, and deceived the entire Akatsuki organization. It's a pity that all this is just a scam created by a certain black boy who wants to save his mother. Of course, Tobirama and the others don't know these things yet. At this time, Tobirama was still thinking about using cloning technology to clone Lin's body, and then resurrect Lin and ask her to persuade Obito back. It would be such a waste to give such a useful thug to Madara. As for how important it is for the 4th generation and the people who died in the Ninetales Rebellion, can they be resurrected together? Anyway, things didn't happen in his time and space. If there was any trouble, it would be left to Jiraiya the 5th to resolve it. Jiraiya, don't come over here. The 5th Jiraiya didn't know yet that Tobirama was going to create a big trap for him. Now he and the 3rd Hokage knew through the light screen why Obito became so hostile to Konoha. It turned out that it was really because of Noera Rin. I asked, is Obito's brain not working well? I'm not saying there is anything wrong with fighting against the sky and the earth for the one he loves. but Konoha also has the Uchiha clan who gave birth to him and raised him, and they also love and protect him. The existence of the Minato couple, didn't he consider this when he released the Nine Tails? That the fifth generation Jiraiya didn't quite understand Obito's brain circuit. If this matter was to be pinned on him, he would definitely go find the mastermind behind it and fight for it instead of blaming Minato and Konoha village for not being able to rescue in time. Don't tell me, Obito's brain may be really bad. Thinking about Obito's various operations when he was in the ninja school, the third Hokage had an inexplicable sense of déjà vu. He looked around, and when he saw Naruto, he suddenly realized where this sense of déjà vu came from. Isn't this just a replica of Naruto? Naruto's brain understood everything. In the same way, Obito's mind is probably not very good either. Old man, did you tell Kakashi the news that Obito is still alive? I've been hesitating whether I should say it or not. Looking at the third Hokage smoking normally, the fifth Jiraiya affirmed, you are right to hesitate. Obito has become like this, so why not tell Kakashi in a hurry? Let's consider this matter after we get more information. I understand. After the Third Ninja World War, Konoha signed a contract with Iwagakure village on the premise that Konoha made concessions. The third Hokage took the initiative to resign in order to be responsible for the Konoha ninjas who died in the war and under pressure from the Konoha high level. However, Minato relied on his outstanding performance and strong strength in the Third Ninja World War. After obtaining the unanimous consent of the Fire Country daimyo, he successfully became the fourth Hokage of the Fire Country Konoha Ninja Village. Minato, who was promoted and made a fortune, reached the peak of his life, and at the same time did not forget to support Kakashi, his subordinate. In the future, Minato worked day and night and finally became a father. Kushina is pregnant. Although Minato is busy as the Hokage, he still has a hobby of reading in his spare time. So the child's name is taken from the name of the protagonist in Jiraiya's book, that is, the protagonist of this play, Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. At this moment, everyone in the office looked at Naruto, who was confused. Are you kidding? My father is the fourth generation Hokage? Chapter 72 Jiraiya the fifth generation, Obito, you are a beast. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this time, Uzumaki Naruto had tears streaming down his face. He didn't want to believe, and couldn't believe that his father was the fourth Hokage of the village. If his father is the fourth Hokage, then why are there no children to play with him? Why would he be chased away by the store owner if he wanted to buy a mask? He can't cook, so he can only eat instant noodles. Even when the milk was about to expire, no one came to remind him. If the fourth Hokage was really his father, then why was he treated like this in the first place? At this moment, Naruto's heart sank to the bottom and he came to the place where Kyuubi was imprisoned. Kid, tear off this sealing talisman, and let's make the world upside down together. Kyuubi had never been so excited. When he saw the magical light curtain inside Naruto, he thought he would never have a chance to break free from the cage in his life. As a result, the old man of the light curtain gave a big gift, revealing the fact that Namikaze Minato was Naruto's father. This allowed him to take advantage of the situation. As long as Naruto tears off the talisman paper stuck in the sealed door, it will be able to break out of the cage. From then on, the sky is high enough for birds to fly, and the sea is wide enough for fish to jump. What, you said that the fifth Jiraiya, the third Hokage and Orochimaru were standing next to Naruto. It wasn't that Kyuubi looked down on them. In the entire ninja world, except for Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama, it looked down on everyone. Yes, that's it. As long as you tear off this piece of paper, we can work together to kill these hypocritical guys. Kyuubi seduced Naruto while using chakra to corrupt Naruto's heart. When Naruto was about to touch the talisman, in reality, the fifth generation Jiraiya and others finally realized that Naruto was in something wrong. Oops, the Kyuubi's seal is weakening. Jiraiya, think of something quickly. Looking at Naruto, whose air pressure was getting lower and lower, and his face was getting more and more ugly, Jiraiya the fifth generation made a prompt decision and used the four-symbol seal on him. Well. During the Chunin exam, Orochimaru used the five-element seal on Naruto in order to block Naruto's Nine-Tails chakra. after Jiraiya returned to the village and formally accepted Naruto as his disciple, in order to allow him to better utilize the Nine-Tails chakra, Jiraiya unsealed his 5 elements. At this time, the 5th generation Jiraiya did not use the 5-element seal but the 4-elephant seal, also considering that Naruto would use this power in the future. Moreover, Naruto himself has 2 layers of 4-elephant seals placed by Kushina for him, which are the Bagua seals. The 5th generation Jiraiya is only strengthening it now, and it will not damage Naruto's body. Just after the 5th Jiraiya successfully strengthened the 4-elephant seals, Naruto's consciousness, which was still immersed in the Nine-Tails cage, was immediately pulled out. Seeing Naruto's consciousness being pulled away, Kyuubi fell into a powerless rage. Damn it, it's just that little bit close. Damn it Jiraiya. The damn 3rd Hokage. Don't let me find a chance to go out. Once I go out, I will make Konoha village a river of blood. Jiraiya and the others couldn't hear the Kyuubi's roar. Looking at Naruto who had fallen into a coma, the 5th Jiraiya made a shadow clone and said, I'll send him back first. Well, let him have a good rest. Jiraiya's shadow clone left with Naruto on his back. At this time, Sasuke couldn't calm down for a long time. Like Naruto, he had many questions. The biggest one is that since the 4th Hokage is Naruto's father, why does the village treat him like this? Judging from how nervous the 3rd Hokage and the 5th Hokage were just now, could it be because of the monster in Naruto's belly? So, what kind of monster can turn the son of a hero into a being that everyone shouts about? Kyuubi. Is that the monster's name? The more he thought about it, the more Sasuke felt that something was wrong. He subconsciously looked at Orochimaru, trying to get an answer from this cheap teacher. Sasuke-kun, don't be impatient. Use your eyes to see and think. One day you will find the answer. Orochimaru was still the same, not telling Sasuke the answer directly, but letting him think for himself. Sasuke could accept that. He was very confident in himself. If Orochimaru didn't tell him, he would find the answer by himself. After Naruto left, the 3rd Hokage said to the 5th Jiraiya, Jiraiya, do you think it is possible that Naruto is the child of destiny you are looking for? How can that be? That the 5th generation Jiraiya was about to refute when he heard this, but suddenly felt that it was not impossible. After all, it was said on the light screen that Naruto was the protagonist of this drama, and the great Toad Immortal also said that he would become the master of the Destiny Child. It just so happened that Naruto was also his disciple. Think about it. After patting Jiraiya on the shoulder, the 3rd Hokage took a puff of cigarette and continued to look at the light screen. After Kushina became pregnant, Minato took the opportunity to arrange for Kakashi to protect his wife. After Kakashi learned that Minato-sensei, who valued him, had a child, he changed his usual gloomy mood and went to the cemetery to visit the graves of his teammates in memory of his teammates. He also told the happy news when no one was around. Unexpectedly, he was overheard by the masked man whose true identity was Obito. The 3rd Hokage, I just said that Kushina's birth date is a top secret. It turns out that Kakashi guy leaked the secret. My dear Lake Biwa-o, at this time, Obito has been successfully brainwashed by Uchiha Madara, trying to build a world of sweet dreams by collecting tailed beasts. Tobirama, yes, this guy's IQ seems to be really problematic. Hiruzen, yes, he hasn't noticed anything is wrong after all these years. Mirror, Obito really lowered the IQ limit of the Uchiha family. At this point, Obito is standing on the opposite side of Kushina, the Jinchuriki of the Nine-Tails. A few months passed, and on the day Naruto was born, Minato cried with joy. It also means that this is the day when Kushina is at her weakest as the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. The target is Kyuubi's Obito, using his divine power to pass through the barrier under Konoha, preparing to take advantage of the opportunity. Obito successfully eliminated all the people present except Minato, including the 3rd Hokage's wife Biwako. He kidnapped Naruto to threaten Minato, and yelled at Danaga to take his sister and leave the Jinchuriki quickly, otherwise I will spread Naruto's ashes within a minute. At the same time, the nine-tail seal on Kushina has not been completed and is not yet stable. Obito immediately abandoned little Naruto and used the method of inducing the tiger to leave the mountain. Minato had no choice but to hug Naruto instantly, but Obito had several detonating charms attached to his body. At this time, Minato had an idea and took off his clothes to relieve the explosion, but for a while he couldn't take care of his wife Kushina. Obito took the opportunity to kidnap Kushina, opened the seal and released Kyubi. This bastard is really a beast. How dare he treat Kushina like this? This is his junior wife. That the fifth generation Jiraiya was angry. If Obito stood in front of him now, he would definitely let this bastard taste the iron fist of justice. Chapter 73 Obito's Divine Power. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After the Kyubi was released, Obito put Sharingan-style contact lenses on it as soon as it landed, controlling its every move. Kushina, because of the powerful vitality of the Uzumaki clan, did not die immediately just because the tailed beast was removed. Seeing that Kushina was not dead, Obito turned around and arranged for Kyubi to take action. Fortunately, Kushina has the Flying Thunder God technique left by Minato. When the Kyubi broke out and hurt people, Minato was rescued by Princess Kushina in a critical moment. At this moment, Obito's heart collapsed. Obito, okay, you didn't come when I was crushed by the rock, you didn't come when Rin was killed by Kakashi, but you came immediately after my wife was in danger, double standards, right? Minato had no time to pay attention to the angry Obito. He comforted his wife in his arms softly, and told Naruto that the situation was fine, and then burst out a murderous aura in the direction of Kyubi. Then Minato used the Flying Thunder God technique to evacuate and carried Kushina to Naruto. Minato looked at his exhausted wife and newborn child with a lot of reluctance in his eyes. But the birth of the Nine Tails will definitely endanger the entire Konoha. Minato is carried on the shoulders of the Hokage. In order for his wife and children not to suffer such suffering, and to protect the village and eliminate enemies, he put on the Hokage's robe. Minato, wait a moment, I'll be right back. I have to say, the fourth Hokage is really handsome. Koharu, who was in her 20s, looked at Minato on the light screen when she went to bed, her eyes were full of love, and she was almost drooling. Koharu, please be more reserved, Minato Namikaze is probably not even born yet. Koharu's attitude irritated Mito Menyen. He and Xiaonan were childhood sweethearts. Although neither of them had any thoughts in that regard, he was still unhappy with Xiaonan acting like a nymphomaniac, especially when the object of infatuation is not him yet. I know, but that doesn't stop me from admiring his heroic appearance in the light curtain. Yen sighed and simply stopped talking. I remember that the Yondaime died in this Ninetales rebellion, right? Yes, teacher. Tobirama nodded and continued, judging from the strength shown by the fourth generation, the combination of Obito and Kyubi may be a bit difficult to kill him. From Tobirama's point of view, how could Minato Namikaze, who was able to use the Flying Thunder God technique to perfection, be killed by Obito and Kyubi? If you can't beat him, why can't you run away? At that time, the third Hokage should still be at the peak of his strength, right? With the combined power of 2 generations of Hokage, can't they defeat the Kyubi? By the way, is Kyubi so difficult to deal with? When he thought about how his eldest brother Senju Hashirama was so effortless in capturing tailed beasts back then, and then even after gathering the strength of the entire village on the light screen, he still failed to save the Hokage, Senju Tobirama felt very torn. It was as if, after the First World War, the strength of each village had been severely weakened. Shadow's strength is not good. The strength of each family clan leader is not good, and the strength of the village as a whole seems to be very weak. Sarutobi Hiruzen also thought of this. He didn't know what to say, so he could only reply, no way, we are all characters in literary works. If the author wants to set it up like this, there is nothing you can do about him, teacher, right? Hiruzen. Teacher, tell me. Tobirama looked at Hiruzen steadily and said, that's good, don't say it again next time. Hiruzen. An autumn in Konoha, the wind is so lingering. The peaceful night is full of fireworks and is exaggerated by the daily leisure of Konoha villagers, and there is a lot of kindness in the beauty. But the combination of Kyubi and the masked man makes Konoha at this moment the calm before the storm. Obito led the Kyubi to wreak havoc on the village, causing heavy casualties. Minato teleports to the Hokage Rock and attracts the Kyubi. However, the red-skinned dog Kyubi doesn't play according to the routine, and the tailed beast Yu opens his mouth to come. Minato faced such a terrifying wave and used the space-time barrier to easily deflect the attack and save the village. The ninjas of Konoha were immediately relieved when they saw their eldest brother online. But Obito was not idle either. In order to prevent Minato from targeting Kyubi, he suddenly attacked from behind. After the fight, Minato discovered that the enemy's body could be penetrated, so he used the Flying Thunder God technique to escape. Is this the divine power that Light Curtain mentioned before? On the light screen, Minato Namikaze officially fought against the masked man. Facing Minato's attack, the masked man had no defense at all and allowed the kunai to pass through his body. Seeing this scene, Tobirama and Kagami simultaneously thought of Obito's Mangekyo Sharingan ability, Kamui. Obito's ability is a bit lacking. The abilities of the Mangekyo Sharingan vary. The mirror-like ability was to protect his family, so he awakened a weakened version of the other god, Tamamo, and deploy a fixed barrier to protect people, Zashiki, but a god like Obito who is immune to all physical attacks is outrageous. I don't believe that Obito's Kamui is invincible. It must have weaknesses that we don't know about. Tobirama believes that any technique has its corresponding weaknesses. Shinwei is currently so invincible, it must be because they haven't found the corresponding weakness yet. In addition, Obito currently only has one Mangekyo Sharingan, so he cannot use the full power of the Sharingan. I just want to see how the Yondaime can deal with Obito. I don't believe that a mere Obito can kill the Yondaime. It turns out that Obito Sharingan's ability is virtualization. Yeah, a very tricky ability. The 5th Jiraiya and the 3rd Hokage had a headache. Facing this kind of opponent who was immune to all physical attacks, they didn't know what to do for a while. Old man, Minato at that time should have defeated Obito, right? The 3rd Hokage nodded and replied, although I did not see the specific battle, Minato did not die in Obito's hands. The 5th Jiraiya smiled, looked at Minato on the light screen, and murmured in a low voice, as expected of me, Toad Sennin's disciple, the teacher is proud of you. After a while after escaping, the two began to fight head-on. Before now, Minato suspected that the masked man might be Uchiha Madara, who was at war with the 1st Hokage. Even if not, he is not a small person. The Yondaime guessed wrong. Madara won't do such petty thefts. He will only knock you down head-on. Hearing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen whispered to Tobirama, Teacher, have you forgotten that Madara sent White Zetsu to possess you? Okay, I take it back, Madara will still do some tricks. Chapter 74 Danzo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Obito used a Filipino chain-binding massage attack, while Minato responded with a large kunai acupuncture. Because both sides use time and space ninjutsu, they fight back and forth. After a brief confrontation, Minato analyzed the weaknesses of his opponent's ninjutsu and formulated a strategy to defeat the enemy. Teacher, what is Kamui's weakness? On the side, hearing that Minato already knew Kamui's weakness, Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't hold it in any longer and asked Tobirama. Teacher, after a period of thinking, Tobirama gradually came up with a guess, but he didn't tell Hiruzen, but said to him, you are so old, you have to think more about everything, don't always rely on me. Minato is about the same age as you. Why can he see the power of the gods? Weakness, but you can't. After hearing these words, Sarutobi Hiruzen felt very speechless. How can this be the same? Minato is the person involved, and we are just the audience watching the video. Minato must know better than us about some details that the camera cannot take care of. If I were facing Obito head-on, maybe I would be able to detect him. It's not necessarily a weakness. Haha Hiruzen, you are really getting thicker and thicker. Danzo sneered from the side. This was the first time he took the initiative to speak since he broke up with Hiruzen. Others Minato is Hokage, who are you? What qualifications do you have to compare with Minato? Hiruzen was annoyed, he didn't expect that Danzo would be okay if he didn't speak, but would be so ugly when he spoke. I will be the 3rd Hokage after all. Unlike some people, I can only stay in the darkness my whole life. Hiruzen was not easy to deal with either, and what he said touched on Danzo's pain points. He thought Danzo would be furious, but the other party just sneered and replied, with the intervention of the light screen, there is no telling who the third Hokage will be. After saying that, Danzo took a special look at Tobirama. Seeing that the teacher was not angry, he said to Hiruzen, Sensei is still in his prime. It is normal for him to live until Minato is born. He must have gone through the teacher's care. After some training, Minato will definitely become better than he originally was. Originally, Tobirama didn't want to care about Danzo and Hiruzen's affairs, it's just that Danzo has dragged him in now, and he can no longer sit idly by. Moreover, Danzo's words are indeed a bit off, to put it mildly, he is just sowing discord. Of course, Tobirama also wanted to know how Hiruzen would behave when he knew that the position of Hokage was not necessarily his. Should we just let it go, or should we work harder? He was looking forward to this. Danzo, be quiet, it's important to watch the light curtain. Danzo glanced at Hiruzen, who was starting to worry about gains and losses, smiled proudly, and said, yes, teacher. Old man, have you thought about Kamui's weakness? Not yet, have you thought of it? Fifth generation Jiraiya smiled proudly and said, of course, this is actually very simple. Appreciate further details. Old man, you see, although Obito's divine power has the ability to blur, all physical attacks against him will be ineffective, but things are relative. Obito can't always stop attacking, right? As long as he attacks, it will exit the virtual state and become a physical entity. Otherwise, how can he touch others? In the virtual state, he will pass through the body when he touches others. After puffing on his cigarette, the third Hokage nodded and said, I'm so old. I didn't even think of such a simple thing. Haha, so old man, you should have retired a long time ago and enjoyed your life. If that person hadn't been wandering outside the village, I would have retired a long time ago. The fifth generation Jiraiya smiled awkwardly. Don't talk about the past, look at the light curtain, yo Minato's move is really cool. The third Hokage gave him a disgusted look and stopped talking. Minato, who has analyzed Obito's weakness, looks very reckless, but his posture is very graceful. The kunai is used as a feint to attack, forcing Obito to become hollow. Obito was a little proud when he saw kunai penetrated his little head. He suddenly had the illusion that he could kill Minato alone. Minato saw the kunai penetrate the masked man's little head, and felt a little calm. He rolled the balls in a second, changed from the kunai acupuncture just now, and directly performed a Rasengan massage, hammering the masked man into the soil, and left the Flying Thunder God's technique on the injured area. Minato's entire process is called the Flying Thunder God second stage plus Rasengan combination. This combination of skills is widely praised. Flying Thunder God second stage. Rasengan. It's really interesting. As the creator of the Flying Thunder God Jutsu, Tobirama thought that Minato's use of the Flying Thunder God was on par with him, but after seeing the second stage of Flying Thunder God, he realized that Minato's use of Flying Thunder God had already surpassed him. After all, he doesn't need the second stage Flying Thunder God, if you want to use it as proficiently as Minato. I'm afraid it will take a long time to study. Now is the critical period for cloning technology. If he wants to study the second stage of Flying Thunder God, he can only wait until he masters the cloning technology. I don't know if Old Monkey has any information about the second stage of Flying Thunder God. Well, I'll ask after the video ends. Sure enough, my analysis was correct. A Rasengan hit Obito hard. Minato's operation also proved that the fifth generation Jiraiya's idea was right. Even Sasuke, who didn't have a good impression of Jiraiya, refreshed his opinion at this time. I think the fifth generation Jiraiya is quite reliable sometimes. After Obito finished this set of attacks, his left hand was completely gone. Then Minato used the Flying Thunder God to touch Obito, and used the contract seal to release Obito's control of the Kyuubi. After being injured, Obito left harsh words and used Kamui to escape. At this time, the Kyuubi is still attacking Konoha, and only one Sandaime is in charge. The rest of the ninjas only threw a few detonating charms, and none of Kakashi's generation saw them. It's a pity that the Sandaime didn't last long before he was forced to suffer from kidney failure. I don't know who is playing who between him and Kyubi in their prime. Old man, you. Look at what I'm doing. I was so hungry that day that my legs were weak. Can't you? Okay. The fifth generation Jiraiya shook his head and stopped asking any more questions. Pursuing this issue will only make both parties embarrassed. Anyway, only the third Hokage himself knows whether it is true or false. Why don't we see any ninjas from the Uchiha clan appearing? The Uchiha hadn't been exterminated at that time, right? Tobirama was not entangled in the matter of the third Hokage. He just couldn't figure out why the Uchiha ninjas didn't come out. Do you really think that other people can't see the Mangekyo Sharingan as big as Kyubi? Uchiha must know that only by taking action on his own side can the suspicion be cleared. Hiruzen, who readjusted his mentality, frowned and continued, unless they are stopped by something or someone. Stopped? But when people in the office heard this, they felt that what Hiruzen said made sense. So what, or who, stopped Uchiha? After thinking about it, everyone turned their attention to Shimura Danzo, who was touching his chin and showing an inexplicable smile. Danzo? No, can this also be blamed on me? Chapter 75 Danzo, he slandered me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Danzo, do you think it's possible that you prevented us from organizing Uchiha support? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked gloating. Not only him, but everyone present looked at Danzo a little strangely. After watching Danzo's inventory video, everyone also has a certain understanding of him decades later. Not to mention, Danzo is really capable of preventing Uchiha from providing support. Shut up, Hiruzen. Danzo glared at Hiruzen fiercely, turned around and complained to Tobirama. Teacher, he slandered me. Sarutobi Hiruzen, he slandered me. Seeing Danzo's face full of excitement, Tobirama suddenly felt funny. Danzo, there is no need for you to be so excited. Even if it was really you who did it, it will be who you are decades later and has nothing to do with you now. Tobirama is right. Anyway, it was him who did it decades later, not him now, so why are you so excited? Unexpectedly, after Danzo heard Tobirama's persuasion, instead of calming down, he became even more excited. It's impossible. Now in the entire village, no one knows that I, Danzo Shimura, am an outstanding and promising young man. Let alone secretly hinder the village, I will not do even immoral things like throwing garbage everywhere. Well, everyone was left speechless by Danzo's words. Just you? An outstanding young man? What are you looking at? In the past 2 months, I have contributed money and efforts to help many orphans and disabled people. What's wrong with calling me an outstanding young man? Danzo, you are really cruel, not only to your enemies, but also to yourself. Jing, what do you mean by this? Danzo was very dissatisfied with what Kagami said. What does it mean to be cruel to yourself? Should I, Danzo, be born evil and unworthy of doing good deeds? In order to become the third Hokage, you can even change your own nature. Isn't this cruel enough? Who wants to be the third Hokage? Hiruzen, not only did you slander me, you also slandered me. TCH, who among the people here doesn't know what you want to be Hokage? You almost have the words, I want to be Hokage, written on your face. Hiruzen's words elicited chuckles from those present. They did know Danzo's thoughts, but they didn't know that Danzo actually ran to do good deeds in order to become Hokage. This is simply too strange. You. Seeing the embarrassment on Danzo's face, Tobirama thought it was almost done, so he said, okay, stop joking around and continue watching the light curtain. Is teacher. After the Kyubi lost the control of the contact lens, it became more and more rampant, and another tailed beast Jade came. Fortunately, the tailed beast was suppressed by Minato, who appeared in time with a toad, and then used the Flying Thunder God technique to take the Ninetales away from Konoha. At the same time, he also brought Kushina and Naruto to the scene. Kushina used her remaining strength to use the King Kong seal to bind the Ninetales, temporarily suppressing the big red-skinned dog who wanted to do whatever she wanted. Minato believes that the masked man will definitely bring chaos to the ninja world in the future. Combined with the prophesied child that Jiraiya once said, Minato directly placed the treasure on Naruto and decided to make Naruto the nine-tailed Jinchuriki. He first used the ghoul seal to cut the 9 tails into a hermaphrodite, fox, and the een half belonged to Minato. At this time, the Kyuubi didn't know what advantage it was aiming at Naruto. It happened that because of Minato's open barrier, the Sandaime and his subordinates could not enter the barrier to help. So Minato and Kushina, the couple, died on their nails that had not been trimmed for many years. When Minato was about to die, he sealed the part of Kyuubi Yan with Bagua and sealed it into the body of newborn Naruto. At the same time, he also sealed himself and Kushina's remaining chakra into Naruto's body. After leaving his last words to Naruto, both Minato and his wife passed away. A generation of genius died with his wife. Hey, if Danzo hadn't stopped the Uchiha clan at that time, Minato might not have died, and the village would have lost fewer people. The third Hokage sighed. He didn't mention Kushina because he knew that she would die if she lost Kyuubi, but Minato actually doesn't have to die. As long as Minato doesn't die, the Hinata incident may not happen, and the Uchiha clan may not be exterminated. It can only be said that Danzo is indeed the king of pot. As long as something bad happens and no suitable suspect can be found for a while, Danzo will be right to suspect him. Minato's death was his own choice and had nothing to do with Uchiha. The fifth Jiraiya listened to the third Hokage's words and shook his head. Through the picture on the light screen, he could see that Minato in the end was actually no different from committing suicide. In addition to using the corpse seal, he can also use other methods to seal the 9 tails. It was just the presence of Kushina that made him make the choice to die with his wife. Speaking of Danzo, old man, don't you have any news about him yet? No, the entire ninja world is looking for him now, but that bastard seems to have disappeared from the world, and no news has been spread. For Danzo, the third Hokage was really disappointed. If he had not run away at that time, committed suicide or died bravely, the third generation would still respect him as a man, a worthy disciple of Tobirama-sensei, and a Konoha man who dares to take action. The results of it. Not only did this guy run away, he also hid and made no sound, like a shrunken turtle. The third generation is really ashamed to be in his company. Danzo's matter must be settled as soon as possible, and we will not hesitate to increase the bounty for this. Danzo knew a lot about the village. If there is no news of his death for a day, the village will be in more danger. The bounty is already huge. The sum we paid, plus the money given by other villages and individuals, adds up to almost 90 million taels. I don't think increasing the bounty will have any effect. There is no other way. Apart from sending ninjas to find traces of Danzo, the only way we can increase the reward amount is to increase the amount of the reward. After thinking for a moment, Jiraiya the fifth continued, add another 10 million taels. After all, 100 million taels sounds more exciting than 90 million taels. The third Hokage looked deeply at the fifth Jiraiya. You are the Hokage now, so I will listen to you. The Yondaime is a little too sentimental. Seeing the ending where Minato and Kushina died together, Tobirama shook his head in displeasure. What the fifth generation Jiraiya could see, he could naturally see too. Obviously he could survive and continue to lead Konoha forward, but he died for his wife Kongai. This made Tobirama, who could sacrifice everything for the village, feel very dissatisfied. Yugong, he is the Hokage of Konoha. Privately, he still has a son alive. In addition, his Senju Tobirama is not married yet. Good guy. The Watergates are using their lives to spread dog food. Tobirama, come on, someone is openly abusing a dog here. Come on and take care of it. Kyuubi, okay, look at me. Minato, Kushina, dead. Chapter 76. Minato completes his inventory. You are listening at novelfull.audio. There is still a little time left. I will try to round out this plot. First of all, Minato didn't know that putting the 9 tails back into Kushina's body would save Kushina. Secondly, Kushina herself said that she wanted to drag the 9 tails back and die together. In addition, the 9 tails was tied to the ground by the girl just after it was freed, and the resentment was indeed deep. Kushina's condition was extremely poor, and resealing it would not help, and it might even accelerate her sudden death. Minato was also worried that after the Ninetales was killed by Kushina, it would break the balance of the tailed beasts in the ninja world. Originally, the Jinchuriki, wife, was about to die, and Konoha would lose another tailed beast, which would undoubtedly be a huge loss. So, in just a few minutes, there was a scene where an old father accompanied his wife to die for love, and entrusted his son to this world and placed high hopes on him. In general, Kushina would die in 9 out of 10 cases, and the Ninetales would die depending on the situation. But Minato, who was in good condition, really didn't have to die. As a result, the father put all the responsibility on Naruto and committed suicide with his wife. If Obito knew that Minato was dead, he would probably be stunned for a long time. I was still thinking about how to beat Minato next time, but Minato was killed by the plot like the second-generation Hokage. So I will just stop here for this plot. It can be said that Minato, who has Flying Thunder God, is too difficult to deal with. The author's operation is clearly for the future strength of the protagonist and the smoothness of the plot. He directly sacrificed Minato and his wife. So let's talk about Minato's story before his death. We'll talk about the Fourth War period after the Impure World reincarnation later. I'm Tian, see you next time. What? It turns out that the fourth generation is a love-brained person. After watching the inventory video of Minato Namikaze, Tsunade curled her lips in disdain. Tsunade, don't you think the love between Minato and his wife is beautiful, and his final choice is very touching? Seeing that little Tsunade looked down on his future disciple, little Jiraiya couldn't help but speak up to defend himself. Unexpectedly, after hearing what little Jiraiya said, little Tsunade became even more disdainful. What kind of master you have, what kind of disciple you have. Since he values his wife more than the village, why does he still want to be Hokage? What does this have to do with whether he will be Hokage or not? Didn't Minato's love sacrifice move you a little? Speaking of this, little Jiraiya was a little angry. In his opinion, the love between Minato and his wife is worth praising. The husband gave up the right to live and resolutely followed his wife to die. How touching. I am touched, in my opinion, Minato is a coward, abandoning the village and his son, and only has his wife in his eyes. He is still a Hokage like that. Bah. No wonder little Tsunade was so excited. From childhood to adulthood, she has always regarded her great-grandfather and second-grandfather as idols. It can be said that they have paid everything for the village. The former killed his best friend with his own hands, the latter has not married yet. In contrast to these two people, Minato's choice to die makes little Tsunade feel very disgusted. Tsunade, are you still a woman? How can you say such a thing? Why am I not a woman? Do you think I don't know? You perverted sensual maniac often peek at me taking a bath. Hearing this, little Jiraiya's face suddenly began to turn rosy. He muttered in a low voice with a weak confidence, who would peek at you, a piece of wood? To be honest, Tsunade in her youth was indeed not good. However, Jiraiya at this time did not care whether she had good goods or not. He still cared more about whether her face was beautiful. From the face alone, little Tsunade is undoubtedly very beautiful. In addition to little Jiraiya, there are many people in the village who like little Tsunade very much. Of course, those who like little Tsunade will not be perverted enough to peek at her taking a bath. Jiraiya, if you want to die, just say so. I'll send you to see your grandmother right away. Seeing that Tsunade was really going to attack him, Jiraiya hid behind Orochimaru. Orochimaru, get out of my way. Orochimaru was full of black lines. Doesn't he want to get out of the way? It's because he was grabbed by Jiraiya behind him. Lulyalu, you can't hit me, hey, you can't hit me. With Orochimaru as a shield, Tsunade began to shrink in order not to harm innocent people. Seeing this, Jiraiya immediately became arrogant again. Orochimaru, if you don't get out of the way, I'll hit you too. Knowing that Tsunade was serious, Orochimaru panicked. Jiraiya, I'm sorry, I'm also afraid of Tsunade's fist. After saying that, Orochimaru took off his clothes and quickly left this place. Seeing his friend take off his clothes and get away, Jiraiya was dumbfounded. So Orochimaru is such a shameless person. He stared blankly at the direction where Orochimaru left, and found that he was not shirtless, but had clothes on. Orochimaru, are you stupid? I have clothes on inside. What is the most important thing in the ninja world? Of course, it is to be cautious. If he hadn't been cautious and put on an extra piece of clothes today, he might have run away shirtless in the Hokage's office just now. Jiraiya, die. Ah yeah. Me. Butterfly. Tsunade's attack was so effective that it hit Jiraiya's chest hard, successfully breaking at least 2 ribs. Help him. Snakamaru pretended to come to Jiraiya, shook his head, and sighed, it's hopeless, wait for death, goodbye. No, I think I can still save him. Finally, this little farce ended with the reward, phone call, and confirmation of the time of crossing. Koharu, you should give Jiraiya a simple treatment first, and then put him in the Konoha hospital. Okay, teacher. With Koharu's treatment, Jiraiya's face looked much better. Everyone stand still, I'll give everyone a talisman. Seeing Tobirama take out a stack of talismans from his ninja tool bag, everyone didn't know what he was going to do. Among them, Jing asked, Teacher, what are you doing? This is for safety. While sticking talismans on their bodies, Tobirama said, this is based on the characteristics of white Zetsu. I specially researched it to detect white Zetsu's possession ability. In other words, after sticking this talisman, you can know whether you are possessed by white Zetsu. As soon as the voice fell, a pale body emerged from Mitokato-en and Shimura Danzo. There are actually 2 this time. Seeing the appearance of white Zetsu, Tobirama's eyes lit up. In today's ninja world, there is nothing better than white Zetsu as an experimental material. This thing not only has a strong recovery ability, but it will not be easily killed in experiments. More importantly, white Zetsu does not need to eat, they do not have the organs that normal people should have. Avoid the smearing feces seen after mistakes in experiments. The last white Zetsu, Tobirama had been using it carefully, for fear that he would overdo it and kill white Zetsu. Now, with the existence of 3 white Zetsu, he can let go a little. Perhaps, it is not certain that cloning technology can succeed in advance. Senju Tobirama, thank you, my friend Uchiha Madara, for sending me 2 excellent experimental materials. Uchiha Madara. Chapter 77 Uchiha Clan Association. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At night, the Uchiha clan was holding a clan meeting. This meeting was convened by the radical boss Setsuna Uchiha to discuss the future of the family. As the leader of the Hawks in the clan, Setsuna Uchiha has always been dissatisfied with Senju Tobirama's policies towards the clan. He has always longed to seize power from the Senju clan and become the master of Konoha. Now that the Thousand Hands clan has been disbanded, he doesn't bother to target a disbanded family. However, the second generation Hokage of the village, Senju Tobirama, was still there, and he was bound to pull him down. Tobirama's existence has seriously affected the development of the family. It is imperative to get rid of this second-generation Hokage, and Kagami, a member of the clan, happens to be Tobirama's disciple. His identity can serve as a spy for the family, and he can obtain Tobirama's actions and information for the family. Unfortunately, Jing had no intention of coming to the meeting, and he even broke the legs of the person he sent, which was really audacious. Setsuna was angry. He has never been so angry since he became the elder of the clan. He was so angry that he actually beat his people. This was a loss of face and an attack on his authority. At the same time, he was even more angry that Jing ignored the family and did not even attend such a big event as the clan meeting. Damn it, sooner or later I'm going to deal with you. Setsuna suppressed the anger in her heart and began to have someone preside over the family meeting. At the meeting, the people in Setsuna first talked to Che Zulwan several times to warm up the atmosphere. Only when the doves and centrists became a little impatient did his people officially start discussing today's issue. There is only one topic, and that is, how to kill Senju Tobirama. Setsuna, are you Hawks crazy? You actually want to kill the Hokage of the village? That's right. Do you want us to rebel? Let's not talk about whether we can kill him or not. Have you Hawks thought about the consequences of doing this? Obviously, except for the Hawks, other members of the family were frightened by this issue, and they all started to accuse Setsuna, the leader of the Hawks. Damn it, you can die if you want, but don't hold us back. Setsuna was well prepared for the accusations against these people. He walked forward slowly and signaled to the host that he could go down, and he would control the rest of the venue. Have you said enough? Setsuna crossed his arms and looked around the clan members who were dissatisfied with him with a very majestic look. Seeing that these people gradually stopped talking, he nodded with satisfaction and continued, I didn't call you here to ask for your opinions. I will kill Senju Tobirama, even Senju Hashirama and Uchiha Madara. Even resurrection can't stop me, I said so. Setsuna's words were very domineering, but the tribesmen who were about the same age as him were dissatisfied with him and secretly curled their lips to express disdain. He also knew that many people were dissatisfied with him, otherwise the family would not be divided into 3 factions, and he was only the leader of the Hawk faction and could not control the other 2 factions. But in order for the family to continue to develop and even become the master of Konoha, he had to stand up and unite these 3 factions. In his opinion, the Eagle faction is the most powerful among the 3 factions. Even the other 2 factions combined are not as powerful as his own, and he is the leader of the Eagle faction, so who else should he lead the family? Everyone, please listen to me. Since the founding of Konoha, haven't we Uchiha suffered too much? Madara-sama was expelled from the village before, and Senju Tobirama discriminated against us later. How long will we have to live like this? Obviously our Uchiha family is as famous as the Senju family, and we are also the elders who founded the Leaf Village together. Why are the first and second generation Hokages both from the Senju family? As far as I know, the candidate for the 3rd Hokage is not a member of our Uchiha clan. Can you really tolerate this kind of thing? Among the crowd, there were several older members who hesitated to speak after hearing Setsuna's words. They wanted to say that the Uchiha clan had to bear a large part of the responsibility for Uchiha Madara's departure, just thinking about Setsuna's current power in the clan, and adhering to the principle that doing more is worse than doing less. In the end they did not open their mouths to refute. Setsuna, where did you get the news about the candidate for the 3rd Hokage? Below, the wealthy Uchiha, who is the clan leader and the leader of the Dove faction, couldn't help but speak. Don't worry about where I know it from, I just know it anyway. Hearing this, the rich man frowned and replied, but as far as I know, Hokage-sama attaches great importance to Mirror. I look at the candidates for the 3rd Hokage, and Mirror has a chance. Yes, Kagami is one of the 6 disciples of Lord Hokage after all, and with the support of our Uchiha clan, no one will be dissatisfied with him becoming the 3rd generation Hokage of the village, right? I also think that Kagami is a candidate for the 3rd Hokage. Yeah. Seeing that the situation that he had finally controlled was broken by this rich guy, Setsuna wanted to bite him to death immediately. Mirror? Are you still the Hokage? Don't be ridiculous, let's see what Senju Tobirama did to our Uchiha clan after he came to power, right? Setsuna watched the rich man gnashing his teeth, but he did not choose to take action. Instead, he began to criticize Senju Tobirama's policies. There are so many departments in the village, except for the security department, we can't get involved in other departments at all. Besides, point one after another, things came out of Setsuna's mouth, which made many doves and neutrals change their expressions. The wealthy Uchiha knew that if Setsuna continued to speak, someone might defect to the Hawks on the spot. For this reason, he quickly interrupted and said, wait a minute, if it is as you said, Hokage-sama discriminates against us Uchiha, then why does he want to become a disciple? Setsuna sneered and replied, of course he is just showing off to you and the other families in the village. If he cannot be fair on the surface, then Senju Tobirama is not worthy of being Hokage. The rich man was speechless. Setsuna's words did make sense, however, as the patriarch of the family, no matter how nice and inspiring Setsuna's words were, it was impossible for him to let his clan members participate in the assassination of Hokage. Rich man, you are too weak. You are no longer suitable to be the patriarch of the family. Setsuna, I think you are too radical. If you want to change the family's situation, you don't necessarily have to take action. Where is the chance if we don't take action? Anyway, I just don't agree. Setsuna, I am the clan leader. Rich man, you will regret it. Just when Fuhao and Setsuna were having a heated argument, someone reported that Kagami was back and was coming this way. The noisy conference venue suddenly fell silent. Fuhao and Setsuna stopped arguing and just waited quietly for the arrival of the mirror. After a while, Jing calmly came to the meeting venue, looked at Setsuna and asked, I just heard from the tribe that you want to kill the second Hokage, who is my teacher. Setsuna Sieme smiled crazily, stared at the mirror, and said. Yes, I put my words here, I just want to kill Senju Tobirama. But what about you? Who agrees and who objects? At this moment, even some people in the Hawk faction thought Setsuna was crazy. In front of other students, the teacher who said he wanted to kill the other person would not do that as long as he was a normal person, okay? If that's the case, then just go die. After saying that, in everyone's surprised eyes, Kaoru directly opened the Mangekyo Sharingan. Chapter 78 Kill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mirror, your eyes. The rich man looked at the Mangekyo Sharingan in the mirror with disbelief on his face. This is a kaleidoscope. After so many years since Uchiha Madara left Konoha, the Uchiha clan finally has another clan member who has awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. God bless me, Uchiha. The rich man looked very happy, both for his family and for the mirror. Clan leader, we'll talk about the eyes later. Now I want to get rid of the scum in the clan. Mirror, wait. Unlike the rich man's happiness, Setsuna's reaction here was one of shock. He didn't expect that Jing would awaken Kaleidoscope and even threaten to kill him. How can you not panic when you know the power of Kaleidoscope? How dare you not panic? He spoke quickly, wanting to stop Jing's actions, but how could Jing listen to him? Don't worry, it will be over soon. You won't feel any pain. After saying that, Kagami used an illusion on Setsuna. After amplifying the Mangekyo Sharingan, even Setsuna, an elite Xiaonan, felt in a trance. With just such a delay, Kagami came to Setsuna's side and gently stroked his throat with a kunai. Suddenly, a large amount of blood spurted out from Setsuna's neck. Setsuna stared at the mirror, wanting to say something, but couldn't. Go with peace of mind, the Uchiha clan will be better off without you. Setsuna fell to the ground unwillingly, until his consciousness gradually blurred, and he died soon after. After confirming that Setsuna was dead, Kaoru looked at the Hawk clan members with a blood-red kaleidoscope and said seriously, from now on, there will be no Hawk clan in Uchiha. Do any of you have any objections? The Hawks were so shocked by Jing's momentum that no one spoke for a while. If you don't say anything, I will pretend that you have no objections. After a few seconds, Jing Jian still didn't speak, so don't blame him for making a choice for them. Okay, Patriarch, let's find a place to have a good talk. Okay, let's go to my house. The rich man laughed, not minding the blood on Jing's hands, and pulled him back home. Fire release, the art of dragon fire. Before the two of them could walk away, a member of the Eagle clan behind them immediately spit out a fire dragon in front of the mirror. Mirror, be careful. Get out of the way. When the tribesmen on the side saw this scene, they all asked Jing to get out of the way, and when Jing walked with the clan leader, he did not relax his vigilance. You could tell by seeing that he never closed the Mangekyo Sharingan, therefore, this sudden fire dragon did not cause any harm to him. Everyone, Elder Setsuna is dead. Uchiha Kagami, Senju Tobirama's lackey, will definitely not let us go. Why don't we all just do it together? As long as he is dead, we can live. Seeing that his fire dragon did not hit the opponent, the man quickly opened his mouth to confuse his companions. Needless to say, his words really confused some people. Seeing these desperate guys, the rich man immediately wanted to speak. Unexpectedly, Jing waved his hand to stop him from speaking. Clan leader, these people are hopeless. Rather than letting them go, it is better to kill them directly to eliminate the unrest in the clan. The rich man opened his mouth to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. He could only pat Jing's shoulder and said, be careful. Don't worry, they can't hurt me. After saying that, Jing took the lead in launching the attack. He didn't use ninjutsu. After all, the crowd here was relatively dense, and it would be bad if he accidentally injured other clan members. Anyway, with the amplification of the Mangekyo Sharingan, the opponent will definitely be able to defeat the opponent with his physical skills. The truth was just as he thought. He could clearly see every move of the opponent, and soon two members died in his hands. The same way Setsuna died, his throat was cut and he bled to death. There's no need to talk about family ties to Senju Tobirama's lackeys, let's all do it together. Good, maybe he was frightened by the harshness of the mirror, or maybe he was trying to encourage himself. When someone takes the lead to say hello, the rest of the group immediately responds, with enthusiasm. He launched an attack on Chao Jing at the same time, and their offense also has a tacit understanding, taijutsu, genjutsu, ninjutsu, whatever, they didn't care whether they would hurt other people in the family, as long as they could kill Jing. Really stubborn. Facing the attacks from these people, Jing shook his head helplessly while moving flexibly. Why bother? Why bother? You are going to die anyway, why not die without pain? You must make me angry. After saying that, Jing's eyes suddenly widened, a strong and cold chakra emerged from his body, covered it, and took shape. It is the ultimate power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, Susanoo. You can go die now. The Susanoo hand condensed with chakra was extremely powerful. With just a wave of his hand, a member of the Hawks had all his bones broken and lay on the ground wailing. The remaining members looked at the half-skeleton Susanna covering the mirror and swallowed their saliva in fear. Is it okay if the mirror surrenders and loses half of it? Yes, they wanted to surrender. Even if they were under house arrest for the rest of their lives and couldn't leave the house, that would still be better than being hammered to death by Susanna. Kagami did not answer them, but controlled Susan's big hand to beat these people to death mercilessly. For him, in order to prevent the family from going down the old path of history, all unstable factors must be eliminated. Clan leader, let's go. Okay. Soon, what happened to the Uchiha clan was known to the higher-ups in the village. In response, Tobirama didn't say anything, but secretly lowered the level of monitoring Uchiha. After all, Jing's operation suits him very well. Without some troublemaking Hawks, he can feel more at ease with this family. However, after other families learned about this incident, they all expressed their intention to visit Uchiha the next day. First, it was to test the Uchiha's attitude and see if they would become more anxious because of the kaleidoscope of the mirror. Secondly, it also showed his attitude and made Uchiha think that he had no intention of becoming their enemy. For a moment, the lonely Uchiha suddenly became lively. Jing didn't know about this. After a night of detailed talks with the clan leader, he and Hiruzen set out on the road back to the capital of Fire Nation the next day. Anyway, family matters can be left to the wealthy patriarch. Just when the Uchiha clan was bustling with activity, Mountain Cemetery, Uchiha Madara, who was waiting for the information, looked at the empty scene in front of him and couldn't help but fall into deep thought. After a long time, he turned to look at Black Zetsu and asked, "Don't tell me that the two white Zetsu who went to Konoha are also missing?" Heiju nodded expressionlessly and said, "As expected of Madara-sama, your guess is really accurate." Spot. Chapter 79 Black Zetsu goes to Konoha. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Quiet, deathly quiet, Uchiha Madara put his right hand on his forehead. He didn't know what the problem was. All the white Zetsus who were sent to Konoha twice in succession disappeared. Didn't it mean that white Zetsu's spore technique would never be discovered by the people in Konoha? The results of it? That's it. Madara knew that if he was said to be missing, in fact he was most likely killed. After all, a creature like Baiju could tell at a glance that it was not a human being. For such monsters that can lurk into the village, judging from Madara's approach, he will definitely kill them one by one. Who would have thought that Baiju would arouse Senju Tojama's interest? Instead of killing this white monster immediately, it was placed in a secret laboratory. Madara-sama, what should we do next? Continue to send white Zetsu to Konoha. Madara looked up and looked at the black Zetsu who said it was his own will. At this stage, Madara doesn't actually trust him 100%, just take this opportunity to test it out. Black Zetsu, why don't you go to Konoha yourself and see what that guy Tobirama is doing? Black Jew is indifferent to the matter of exploring information. With his ability, most people can't sense him at all. To him, Konoha village was like a public toilet, he could enter it at will. It's just that he also has one ability that is not as good as Baiju's, and that is that he cannot possess someone silently. If he enters a relatively open and small place, he is still at risk of exposure. I may not be as comprehensive as Baijuecha. It doesn't matter, just do your best. Okay Madara-sama, I'm going to Konoha right now. Konoha village in Konoha 61, today was an ordinary day. Kakashi sat lazily on a tree and looked at Jiraiya the Fifth's latest work with relish. Suddenly, the words of passers-by on the street reached his ears. Have you heard? That brat Uzumaki Naruto is not a demon fox, but the son of the fourth Hokage. What? This is impossible. How could he be the Yandame's son? It's absolutely true, the Hokage Tower has made an announcement. Are you sure? Then I'm going to take a closer look. Looking at the pedestrians walking away, Kakashi silently put away the intimate XX in his hand and disappeared in a flash. At this time, the place below the Hokage building was really busy. Whether they are ordinary villagers or ninjas in the village, they are all very interested in Uzumaki Naruto's identity. They wanted to know how the boy who had been called Demon Fox for so many years became the son of the fourth Hokage. Old man, won't you come forward and take care of it? Upstairs from the Hokage, the fifth-generation Jiraiya and the third-generation Hokage stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows, looking at the crowded crowd below. It doesn't matter. There are ANBU ninjas maintaining order and there won't be any trouble. But Jiraiya, restore Naruto's identity. Is this really okay? Last night, after the light curtain ended, the fifth-generation Jiraiya talked with the third-generation Hokage for a long time. The reason is to restore Naruto's identity smoothly. In the past, when Naruto didn't know his life experience, they could use excuses such as stabilizing Naruto's emotions to not disclose his identity. Now that Naruto already knew that he was the son of the fourth Hokage, it would be a bit of a lie to hide it, just make it public. Anyway, the fifth-generation Jiraiya didn't want Naruto to live as a demon fox for the rest of his life. After all, this is all Danzo's fault. If he hadn't secretly spread rumors, Naruto's childhood wouldn't have been so miserable. Hearing this, the fifth-generation Jiraiya glanced at the third-generation Hokage, with a smile on his lips and did not reply. Whether it was Danzo's fault or the third generation's fault, the fifth Jiraiya no longer wanted to investigate. Because it makes no sense now, it's better to think about how to calm down the villagers' anger. Yes, it's anger. These people didn't think there was anything wrong with their original behavior. They were so kind and amiable. Knowing that Naruto was the son of the Yandame, how could they say bad things to him? So, this is all the fault of the higher-ups in Konoha. It was these high-level officials who provided them with wrong information, leading them to believe that Naruto was the reincarnation of the demon fox who killed the fourth generation. Afterwards, the top management of Konoha did not come forward to explain all this, allowing them to continue to make mistakes like this. All of this is the fault of Konoha's top brass. Yes. That's it, everything is the fault of Konoha's higher-ups. They were just deceived and deceived. They are also victims. There are many villagers who have this idea. If it is not handled properly, it may cause some trouble. Don't worry, I've already thought of a countermeasure. What countermeasure? The third Hokage puffed on his pipe and said, just tell the truth and throw Danzo out. Okay, this is a good countermeasure. I have to say that Danzo is really suitable for taking the blame. As long as some information about what Danzo was doing is released, it will definitely attract the attention of these people. In addition, Danzo did indeed do this, which adds to the credibility. It is perfect to use a defector to solve this matter. I just felt a little sorry for Danzo. Even if he defected, the Sandame would still be blamed, but the fifth Jiraiya felt that he wouldn't mind. After all, he was used to taking the blame, right? Of course, Danzo is a treasure. He has done so many bad things that it would be a waste to throw them all out at once. It is better to find a few of these bad things. If one day in the future there is another incident that needs to calm the anger of the villagers, Danzo can be pulled out and continue to take the blame. It's not a disposable pot. Recycling is the way to go. Danzo, Jiraiya, are you polite? Just as the two of them were discussing what to expose Danzo, the elderly version of Koharu and Mito Kadini broke into the Hokage's office regardless of the ANBU's obstruction at the door. Hiruzen, Jiraiya, you have gone too far. Why don't you discuss the matter of announcing Uzumaki Naruto's identity with us? That's right, Mr. Yu, we are Konoha consultants and have the right to know everything about the village. Mr. Yu, we have been partners for decades. Hiruzen, you actually announced Naruto's identity without telling us. It's really true. Unacceptable. The attitude of Koharu and Mito Kabuto when they were sleeping made the fifth-generation Jiraiya raise his eyebrows, and he was not ready to coddle them immediately. It's just that these two are the Sandame's old friends after all, and he stopped the fifth Jiraiya who wanted to slander others. Jiraiya, leave it to me. The fifth-generation Jiraiya looked at the serious look of the third generation and nodded. Okay, I'll leave it to you, Sandame. The fifth-generation Jiraiya didn't call him old man, but the third generation, which meant business was done. The third Hokage also heard that if this was not handled to Jiraiya's satisfaction, this matter might not end so easily. Chapter 80 Xiaonan's Plan to Defraud Money. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Recalling what he knew last night, Uzumaki Naruto sat on the bed blankly, looking a little overwhelmed. It was really beyond his knowledge. How did he become the son of the fourth Hokage? Isn't he the demon fox the villagers call him? Isn't he an orphan who has no one to love him? If he is really the son of the fourth Hokage, what about the unfair treatment he suffered back then? Why did the village hide his life experience? Why should he suffer so much injustice? What is this? Rarely, Naruto, who never liked to use his brain, began to think, but with his knowledge, he couldn't think of anything useful at all. Fortunately, his personality is very good. At best, he is lively and cheerful. At worst, he is heartless anyway. Naruto, who had been sitting on the bed for a long time, finally cheered up. After getting dressed and eating a bowl of instant noodles, I walked out the door. Even though he is now a disciple of Jiraiya the Fifth, he still has tasks to do. If he doesn't complete the task, he will have no income. What's more, the fifth Jiraiya Hokage has a lot of documents for him to review and sign every day. If you practice cultivation, you will only have a small amount of free time. Also, because of accepting Naruto, the fifth Jiraiya rarely even went to the bathhouse. What a joy for the beautiful girls of Konoha. Naruto, you have gone on a mission so early. Come on, come on. This is the new fruit that arrived today. Take it and eat it. I also have cookies here that I brought back from the land of fire. You can eat them too. Here, this is a snack specially prepared for you by my aunt. You can also take some of my taiyaki. As soon as Naruto stepped into the commercial street, the vendors on both sides surrounded him with their products as if they were discussing it. This kind of enthusiasm made Naruto very uncomfortable. He was like a puppet on strings, thanking him blankly while walking forward with the things in his arms. When he walked out of the commercial street, there were so many things in his arms that they almost overflowed. Hey, isn't this Naruto? Do you feel their enthusiasm? At the end of the street, I don't know if it was a chance encounter or intentional, but all the members of Class 8 are here except Yuhihiru. Inuzuka Kiba even stepped forward and teased Naruto. Well, I don't quite understand why everyone suddenly became so enthusiastic. Does that need to be said? Inuzuka Kiba patted Naruto on the shoulder and said, "You are the son of the fourth Hokage, of course they will treat you well." It turns out they all know it. Seeing that Naruto's mood was not high, Hinata plucked up the courage and asked in a low voice, "Naruto, what's wrong with you? Aren't you happy?" Hearing this, Naruto tried his best to smile at Hinata. "No, I'm very happy today." "Hey, try to adapt to your current life." Patting Naruto on the back again, Inuzuka Kiba left with Hinata and Shino. "Are you adaptable to your current life?" Looking up at the clear sky, Naruto chuckled and returned to his usual self. Rain Hidden Village in the Land of Rain. Today is the day for Kikuto to pay. As the financial officer of the Akatsuki organization, in addition to receiving money from tasks in other ninja villages, most of the money in the organization comes from hunting down various ninjas and exchanging their heads for gold underground. It can be said that without Kakuzu, the organization would be severely short of funds. "Kakuzu, why is the amount so low this month?" After taking the suitcase containing cash from Kakuzu, after opening it, Xiaonan felt dissatisfied when she saw the amount inside. "There's nothing we can do. Those guys are looking for Shimura Danzo in groups. Once there are more of them, one of them can't destroy them all. Didn't Pain tell us to keep a low profile? I can't risk being exposed." "Take the risk. It's right to be cautious." Konan put away her suitcase and started walking to the base. Normally, Kakuzu would turn around and leave, but today was different. Kakuzu called out to Xiaonan. What else? I remember you were in charge of intelligence, right? Xiaonan nodded and said, yes. Okay then, let's help me investigate where Danzo is so I can kill him. His head is worth 100 million, that I can't help you with this. Xiaonan was shocked by the bounty amount of 100 million. If it were before Danzo aimed Hidden Village, she might have asked Zetsu to cooperate with Kakuzu, but now, Danzo has been made into the Hell Realm. Nagato can't be allowed to control the Hell Realm to cheat money. It doesn't seem impossible. The more she thought about it, the more Xiaonan thought it was feasible. Wait for me here. Kakuzu, who was still a little disappointed, immediately became happy after hearing these words, but he didn't show it. In order to maintain his composure, he even urged, okay, please hurry up. My time is very valuable. Xiaonan carried the cash box and quickly found Nagato, who was concentrating with his eyes closed. Xiaonan, what's the matter? Yes, I have something to discuss with you. With that said, Xiaonan revealed his plan to defraud money. As long as we are fast enough, we can deceive one family and then the second and the third until the matter is exposed. After hearing Conan's plan, Nagato was quite speechless. Is the organization already so poor? So poor that even Xiaonan wants to cheat money? By the way, what does Kakuzu do for a living? Is he on passive strike? Do you know how much bounty Danzo has now? How many? Seeing that Nagato looked like he didn't want to do it, Conan had no choice but to tell him the amount of Danzo's bounty. A full 100 million bounty. How many? 100 million. Upon hearing this huge amount, Nagato immediately became interested. No one dislikes having too much money, and Nagato is no exception. Okay, I promise you. After saying that, Nagato controlled Danzo to appear in front of Conan. Everything goes according to your plan. After leaving the room, Conan led Heldo to find Kakuzu. Kakuzu. It's so slow, Conan. I can't wait anymore, huh? Is this Danzo? The moment he saw the Hell Realm, Kakuzu subconsciously wanted to attack. This is a walking bounty of 100 million taels, who wouldn't be tempted to see it? Fortunately, he knew where this place was and who Xiaonan was. Since Danzo appears here, it means that he is not dangerous. After all, there is a god of Chinibu in Yuin village. If you dare to take action here, you are seeking death. Why is Danzo here? You don't have to worry about this. You just need to take him to various money exchanges, and then I will come forward to exchange for the bounty. Each money exchange. Yes, that's what I thought. With that said, Xiaonan told everyone about his plan to defraud money. After listening, Kakuzu also gave Xiaonan a thumbs up sincerely and praised, sure enough, you bitch is not a good person either. Xiaonan.